Hello guys, it's Alex here again, and welcome to this course where we'll be looking at pen tool again. But this time around we are looking at how we can use pen tool to cut out a human being from a background. In the previous video we looked at how we can cut out a stabilizer from its background, and that was pretty easy because the stabilizer had straight line sides except for the bottom, that where we had to cut out the tires or the stabilizers at some point. That's where got us a little bit technical, but then it was pretty easy. So this time around we will try doing that. That is cutting out a subject from the background. We are trying that on a picture. So let's get right into it. First of all, we'll go to our folder, at this time our download folder, where we'll get access to a picture of a random guy. Let's use this guy. We have used this guy before in one of our designs, so I guess we are using him again this time around. Now our picture has loaded. Let's expand our picture to fill up our artboard. So I click the enter key and there we go. So now we have a picture of this young man loaded here in Photoshop. All we have to do at this point is to quickly head over to the pen tool. So go over to the pen tool here, and then we can start from anywhere. First of all, zoom in to make sure you are not making some mistakes. All right, so you zoom in again, then you can choose a place to start from. So I choose to start from the neck. All right, so that's actually my choice. So the neck is not straight, like it's a little bit bent, so I have to double click. So you have to be careful at this point to make sure you don't. So you have to be careful at this point to make sure you don't go outside of the skin of the young man and select the background. So at some point you have to zoom really in again so that you actually see what you're selecting. So I shift my slider a bit so I can have a closer look at my selections. So I think we don't need to move the pen tool there. So this is a human being now, and unlike the stabilizers that has sharp edges, humans don't have sharp edges. All right, so most of the selections we'll be making, or most of the parts we'll be making here, will have curved edges. I'm using Ctrl Z to go back to make corrections where necessary. So this could take some time. All right, if I try to be super precise or accurate with my selection, this tutorial will take a lot of time. All right, and it could really be so boring. So I don't want to be too accurate now. I just want to do something decent. All right, but then why not wasting a lot of time? So I'm taking some huge spaces in between so that we'll finish as fast as possible. Let me zoom out a little bit. So this is pretty easy. You just have to double click on each of the point, and once you double click, you drag out until and watch the select the path until you are comfortable or satisfied with the way the selection it's making. Then you release your hand. So like this, now I'm drawing this. I'm not satisfied here. I can see that the background has entered a bit on the path, so I have to keep adjusting until the selection is perfect. All right, so this is weird. What I have to do is Control Z, then I have to break this. Remember what we said, if you want to break this to change the direction, is I hold on Alt while my mouse is on top of this point here. I hold my Alt, it instantly changes, and I change its direction to where I want it to go. So I've bent that a bit. Now let me choose again here, and you see it is so much better than before, but then I'm still not comfortable. So let me go back here again. This time around, I'm holding my control key to adjust the size or the length of this point that I drew out. To adjust the length of this point, because that is the problem of this selection at this point. So once I've achieved that, I go to the point where I go to the place again and drop a point. You see, this is now so much better. So we're having an issue with this again. I hold Control Z, then I need to make this smaller. I hold my control, not smaller, shorter rather. I take it in a little bit, make it shorter. Yep. Then I come down here to make my selection. You see, this is way much better. So we keep going like that. I drag out until I'm satisfied with the angle. I come over to this place as well. So this is not cool. Control Z. I have to hold my control key. My cursor has changed to a white arrowhead. Then I'm adjusting this. It's too long. So now it's okay here. So I'm making the selection again. This is so much more better. So you see how this thing works? See how this thing works? It's really amazing. So we'll keep going like that. I'm making selection all through the edges of the young man. So let me zoom out a little bit by using my Control minus. So we finally succeeded in making a pen path by the left side of the young man. So this path, just make a straight line and continue from the right. So once we've hit the right, we'll zoom in again on the bottom. Let's scroll down so that we'll make sure we are seeing what we're doing. So look at this angle here. I'm double clicking and dragging out to make sure the pen path is accurate. So I'm double clicking again and I'm dragging out. So this is really easy. All right. This is really easy. So you see this our part here. It's not cool at all. So we need to adjust that. Let's use Control Z. So all we have to do, since we are going to this direction by the right, all we need to do is this straight line here is already pointing upwards. All right. This straight line is actually what decides the direction the pen path should go. So we have to break this and point it to the right. So to break it, I'll have to hold down my Alt key, hover on the point, then break this into the right side, into the right direction, so that to go to the right this time around. So once I now click on the right, you see how the pen path easily follows me. So I come to this edge here. It's still an angle. I need to expand a little bit. I come over here as well. Now this selection is wrong. I use Control Z. Let me zoom in a little bit. Let me adjust this as well. I have to hold my Control key and see my arrowhead, my cursor head has changed. Let me reduce this a little bit. Reduce. Yep, That's fine. So I need to come over here and click again. You see, it's so much more better. So here we have a little bit arc here by the belt. So we have to click at the end of the arc so that we can get that little bit arc by the belt. So this is super easy to do. We don't need to go to the edge of the belt because the cloth continues here. So if we do this, we might cut off this part of the cloth. So I have to use Ctrl Z to do this again. So I have to stop at this point. So I'm double clicking to adjust the angle of the pen path. So click on this as well, but this is messed up because of the direction this point is going, pointing towards to. So I have to Ctrl Z. Let's adjust this. I have to hold my Control key and first of all reduce this. Reduce the length of this line. So I come again, hold my Alt key to break it and change its direction. So this time around my pen path will now go up comfortably. So this is really nice. So I need to point out that most of the time you don't have to be super precise with your selections, right? The most important thing is just that you have to make sure that the background doesn't come in, because if you look at this selection that we made here, let me zoom in so you see what I'm saying. If you look at this place, if we mask this selection now, you see that this part of the clothes will be out because I didn't select from the exact edge of the clothes. I went inside a little bit, so I'm not super precise or accurate there. So why I'm showing you this is for you to know that sometimes you don't really have to be super precise. You just have to make it to be good enough. Ctrl Z, Ctrl Z. So let's do this again. I hold my control to change the length of this because it's affecting the next the next selection or the next angle. So this is okay. Let me change this direction as well. Let me hold my Alt and break this to point it upwards because we are going up. So we go. So for the elbow, we've been able to get that. So let me select on that point as well. So this is okay. So let me Ctrl Z, remove that point because we are leaving out too much of the elbow. So this is better. All right. Okay. This is okay. So I don't like that point or that selection. So let me use Ctrl Z to remove that. Then I have to use Control. Hold down my Control key, then double click, hold down and reduce the length of this. Then I go to my Alt key while I hover on this point as well. Then I break it to face another direction. All right. So now we are on another direction, and yes, that's fine. So we keep doing this until we get to where we started from. That is the first place by the neck where we started from. So let me zoom out a little bit so we can see what we are doing. So we are very close. We are almost there. Let me zoom in again so that I'll see clearly what I'm doing. This selection is not good. Ctrl Z. So I have to hold down my Alt key, then double click and reduce this angle. Now it is reduced. Then I hold my Alt key to break this and point it to the direction we are going, which is a little bit upwards. So our pen tool has appeared once more. So we go ahead and continue with our selections. So This is amazing. So the neck here looks straight. So let's Control Z. It's not that straight, it's a little bit bent. Yep. So let me zoom out a little bit. So here is where we are having a little issue, a little bit of an issue. The hair. This is because the hair is not like the body, or does not have, you know, the sharp edges like the body. So the body of this young man, we can easily make our selections where it's curved. We can change our directions, use the pen tool to create different angles to achieve those places. But the hair of this young man is not like the body. It does not have a sharp edge. So how do we correct this, or how do we select for this area? Simple. Just watch. The same way we have been making selections for other areas, we'll follow the same direction for the hair. So I'm just making just random selections, right? So this is not specific right now. So I'm just going around the hair, somewhere close to the edges, but I'm not really out there. So I just went somewhere close to the edges until I connected to the first point that we made. So while we have been able to do this, remember I told you why this layer is selected, we can easily come over to this place and change and mask this out. But we can't do that until first of all turn this into a selection. So we select first of all by holding down our control key and hitting enter. So our pen part has turned into a selection. So now we can go straight to this bottom here where we have the mask tool and click on it. So we have been able to crop our young man out of the background. But let's look at the hair once again. The hair looks horrible. Like horrible. You see how bad it looks? Yeah, this is so bad. So what we can do to fix this is we need to, for hair, we have to go to our select. Under the select tab, you scroll down to select a mask. Once you click select a mask, you remember we once opened this panel in the previous course at the beginning, but then I told you these tools are the tools we use to adjust our selections. So here now we open this panel again. We use the tools here to make adjustment to our selection, especially the hair. So right now we come here and click on this tool. This tool is called the Refine Edge tool. So that's the tool we'll be using to refine the edge of this young man's hair. First of all, we'll reduce the size of the brush. It was just like the brush tool because you'll be painting it just the way we paint in brush. Then once that is done, we come over, let me reduce it once more. Then we now come over to the edges of this hair and keep clicking one after another. So once you click, immediately click. This Refine Edge tool is an artificial intelligence tool that is designed to detect hair. All right, designed to detect the edge of hair. So that's why it's called Refine Edge tool. It's used to refine the edges of your selections. So you see that as I click on the edges, the tool is powerful enough to differentiate between your hair and your main selection. So it is gradually removing the backgrounds from the hair area. All right. Now we are having the main hair come out the exact way it's supposed to be. while removing the backgrounds beneath it, the white background beneath it. That's why if you look here, you're not seeing the white backgrounds beneath the hair. What you're actually seeing is now the red background that we used to help us see our edges clearer. So this tool is a super amazing tool. Right now you see the hair has turned out all right. So if you make a mistake, you can just use Ctrl Z to come back and make adjustments. So we can adjust this color here. The color red we use here does not really mean anything. We just use it to identify the boundaries of our selections. All right. Then if there are any part of this young man's body, a part of the head that you choose to refine the edge, you can also use this tool to adjust the edges as well. Then even when it comes to this part, you can use this tool. You can come over to this part and make the edge of your selection smoother if the edges were rough. Let's zoom in so they can notice it. I just push or hope you notice this. Let's try to smoothen out the edges. Okay, this only is important sometimes when the edges of our selections are rough. We can use this tool to smoothen things out. Then we can also adjust the feathers as well to adjust the edge of our selection. All right, but then let's leave it at 0. Then also you can use this to adjust the angle or radius of your edge of your selection, the angle or the radius of the edge of your selection. So for now, we might not be needing any of these tools here, but subsequently along the course, along our program, we'll be making use of them to work on some other selections we'll be making. Then at those points, you see how we use these things. Then once I'm sure I'm okay with what I've done to this man's hair or to this young man's hair, I just have to go straight to my output. Always remember to leave your output at layer mask. It allows you to easily make adjustments to your selections later. So now I click OK. So at this point, you see the hair of the young man has been adjusted. All right, from what it used to be to how the hair naturally is. So at this point now, we can easily move this young man around and use him anywhere we want in our designs. So beyond being able to use him wherever we want, probably you don't like the former background that was there before or that this young man was on, you can now replace the background for this young man. And you can simply do that by creating a new layer, come over here and create a triangle for the young man. So this triangle is, let's change the color of the triangle. Let's make it red. So you see, we can actually change color of our triangle from here, the properties panel, or we can just double click here and change it. Okay, this time around, let's make it blue. I think blue works fine. Let's make it blue. Then I now have to bring, since the layer is on top of the image layer of this young man, we won't see the young man until bring this layer below the one of the young man. So now we have brought the image, the triangle layer below. The picture of this young man is now on top. So you see how cool this is now. We now have the picture or the image of this young man on against another background. We can actually choose to use a different background altogether. So this works. Let me choose this background, which is from the color of his clothes. No, sometimes I like choosing colors from the color of the cloth of the subject. It's really cool. So giving it somehow some kind of monochromatic color scale. So you see the background is almost the same color with the top. So it's really cool. So I can choose to adjust the colors to fit anywhere I want. All right. So this is super awesome. So that's that for this course. This is how you change or cut out a human or cut out a person from a background using the pen tool. Okay, as an activity for this course, all you have to do is to upload your image, and as in bring your image into Photoshop and cut yourself out of your background and replace it with, a color background, like that, just the same way I was able to put a rectangle behind this young man. Just have to cut yourself from a background. Or it's all right, you may not even add a background for yourself, but the major thing I want you to do as an activity for this course is to bring your picture into Photoshop and cut yourself out of the background. So do that and submit, where I'll look at it and make corrections where necessary. So that's that for this course. See you in the next course.